Alright guys, so as you guys know, I have done a few Halloween Horror Nights videos. Even though I know they don't get the most views around here, I know they don't get a lot of views, but I enjoy doing them. It gives me something within my my realm of expertise, as well as lets me be a little more, less pigeonholed, you know what I mean? Sometimes you can only do so many fanfiction ideas, am I right? There's only so many times I can do a fanfiction idea on this channel and not, you know, do otherwise. So, yeah. Anyway, so, as I was saying, I've done like a few videos on here where I talked about how, I've pretty much talked about, like, how I would make a new Universal Studios park, or what I'd like to see in HHN, you know, Halloween Horror Nights. And I kind of thought to myself, how about I talk about what if I could create my own Halloween Horror Nights video? You know, what if I could do my own Halloween Horror Nights? You know, what would be the, you know, the scare zones? What would be the haunted houses? What would I like to see? And, yeah. So I figured, you know, time to put my money where my mouth is and actually fucking do it. So, here we go. So, this idea is kind of centered around, the idea of a new icon. The theme of this would be it's a new icon, but not so much like a new original icon. More like we're going back to an IP icon. If you guys don't remember or don't know, there was a time where before Jack, who was the first Halloween Horror Nights icon, he was all the way back in 10. But 1 through 9 were IP Halloween Horror Nights characters who were the icons of Halloween Horror Nights. The first one was the Universal Monsters and Beetlejuice, specifically Beetlejuice. And then 1 through 5, or was it 1 through 6, was the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt. And then there was Emotep for 1 year. Yeah, no lie, Emotep from The Mummy, for cross-promotion, Emotep was used as a Halloween Horror Nights icon. So we're going to make a kind of a callback all the way back to the first Halloween Horror Nights. We're going all the way back for this one. The icon of this year is Dracula. So here's my pitch for this Halloween Horror Nights. This Halloween Horror Nights is that Dracula has reawakened, and he has basically been, you know, in the shadows. Like, he's just been kind of building a new army of the night. Insert Powerwolf theme here. He's been more or less been building an army of nightmares for decades, and he's now looking to unleash that power on the world. But here's the thing: here's what would be the catch. It wouldn't be just one park; it would be both. So, Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure, both parks would literally be, like, in this story. Like, they would be wrapped up into this story, is that Dracula has unleashed this, and that would be the theme. It would be called Army of Nightmares. So that would be the theme, is that Dracula has built an army of nightmares, not just the Universal monsters. It wouldn't be just the Universal monsters. It would also be that he's gathered together all these other nightmares and creatures from some from past houses and scare zones, and others are like new monsters, and maybe some new IPs as well. This is literally what they call in the theme park business blue sky. This is just the whole idea. So this would actually tell a theme. Like, there would be a theme and a reason why there would be why we'd be using 2 parks, when really you just need to figure out the crowd control, because Jesus, last year was bad. Anyway, so here's how you do it. Is that in Universal Studios, Dracula has made that his home base. Like, he's made the Universal Studios theme park as his new, like, castle of nightmare, like the new castle of terrors and whatnot. It's now a focal point for his, like, takeover of the world. While the other park is the effects of that. Like, the theme, Islands of Adventure would be the second part, like him expanding his army. Like, he's gone into the Islands of Adventure and have twisted them. Like, they're now like conquered territories in this like Dracula's new empire. So that's why you'd have two parks. One would be his home base. The other is showing him like his expanding army. That's just my idea. Like, that's how I do it. So let's talk about like some ideas real quick. Like, let's pitch out. Like, I'm just gonna have some fun ideas here and there. So, and as always, if you guys have some fun ideas, let me know in the comments below. I'm always excited to hear what you guys have to say about them. So let's get started. So as for like houses, let's start with Universal Studios first. So for houses, I was thinking like you gotta have a main house for your IP, for your icon. So I was thinking a full-on Castle Dracula haunted house, something in the vein of like when we had Universal Studios, Universal Monsters the first time around before they started bringing them out yearly. So what it would be is that Dracula, his castle is now like the focal point, and you would have like not just him that would be jumping out and scaring you, maybe even have Renfield too. That means a nice cross promotion for the Renfield movie. Just use classic Renfield though, and also have his brides. Like, his brides are popping out at you. That would be really cool. Also, maybe have I think it would be kind of cool is like to show that Dracula is like one. He's now like one, and the night belongs to him forever. Is that you'd have a body of Van Helsing staked in the wall. That would be kind of a cool like scenery of just having like a staked Van Helsing in the wall, just to show that shit is real. Shit is now, like, you're in the shit now. I think that would be a really neat idea. As for other houses, I would not be opposed to bringing back another Scary Ohio. If you guys know your Halloween Horror Nights, Scary Ohio is kind of like a more mature Gravity Falls meets X-Files, where they've done different houses centered around that little town of Cary, Ohio, but it's called Scary because it's all like paranormal shit. They've done stuff with vampires and whatnot. I think that would be a nice tie-in of having that. Bring back Scary Ohio. That's always a fan favorite. I would love to bring back also a sequel to the Yukon haunted house, which was like a Yeti one. That was really cool. It was a real Terror of the Yukon. Maybe have it that it's set during, like, this is a prequel. Like, this is how I'd pitch it, is that it's a prequel to the original house in that it's set during the French and Indian War, and you see Native Americans and French and British troops getting butchered. It was the goriest house of that year. And you just have people just get fucking just annihilated all around you as you're going through the house, being terrified by these Yeti. As for another house, IP house, I'm kind of waiting on when we get Scream. I would like to see a Scream house. Set it around, the first Scream movie, or make it like each room is a dedication to each movie. That'd be kind of neat. I've been waiting for a Scream house for a long time. I would say, yeah, Scream house would be nice. Finally do it, because they were going to do a Scream house not too long ago, but that'd be kind of cool. I will also say, and this could probably work in some capacity, a Terminator house. Hear me out. Terminator originally was supposed to be like a sci-fi horror movie, so you could have it like it's like this post-apocalyptic world, and you could definitely do puppets and have like people as Terminators coming at you, and you're like trying to get through this resistance base, and you're caught in the middle of this like resistance battle with with like Terminators. I would sadly I don't think we'll be able to get Alien and Predator again. I would love to get that though. An Alien and Predator house, but the problem is that that's under Disney. They're being anal as fuck with that IP. I don't think we're gonna get it. I would love to do a new I would actually have a new Psycho house. I think it's been long overdue that Psycho has been represented in Horror Nights. So I think that would be really cool. I think it would be neat also to do a new, like, I've said this before, and I will say it again. I would absolutely love a Michael Jackson Thriller house. I've said it once, I've say it again. I think, and again, I understand that there's, like, legal trouble with that, but just hear me out. The idea, like, the facade, it's the theater you see in the movie. You go in there, it's the movie, and he's popping out at you with in the Where Michael look. You go outside, the zombies, and you're just hearing the music. People will eat that shit up. Like, the fucking Weekend house, which I had no faith in, turned out to be really fucking good. So you can't tell me that would not be work. Also, I want, if we can't do that, either a ghost house or a Ice Nine Kills house. Just saying. Anyway, so those are just a few ideas of what I'd put in Universal Studios. Now let's move on to our next house, our next park, which is Islands of Adventure. My idea for this would be that actually, I forgot to add this because I wanted to have it that there's a little more lore to it. There's a little more, like, story involved in this house. And that is because, like I said, the big thing with this is that Dracula, the story is that Dracula's taken out, is like, this is like Dracula expanding the empire. But the thing of it is, I forgot to add one little detail, and I wanted to have it make more sense when we get back to Islands of Adventure. Each island has been taken over by a specific Universal monster. They're kind of like, the main Universal monsters are like Dracula's generals. They're like they're conquering each island. Now, full disclosure, we can't use, in real time, if this was to be a real thing, we cannot use Dr. Seuss. We can't use it because of there's legal clauses between them and the Seuss estate. They tried to do it when Islands of Adventure did Islands of Fear years ago, and Dr. Seuss's wife was just not having it. So we'll just go back to Booville. Booville was basically like, it was creepy on its own at Booville, where they had smoke everywhere and had shadow cutouts of the Who, and they would play like Dr. Seuss music backwards. And I was like, that's creepy in of itself. Let's just bring back Booville. But yeah. But there's still other places you can use. Those being that, first off, what are we going to do with now? I know what you're thinking. Oh yeah, we're going to bring back Carnage. Sadly, we can't, because Marvel literally told them the last time they did a Carnage-themed house, and during Islands of Fear, they said, if you ever do that again, we'll take the IP from you, which is probably going to happen anyway. We'll see in 2026 or 8. We'll see. Anyway, my thought is, instead of the Marvel superheroes, this is now the island that belongs to Frankenstein. Frankenstein's monster is now ruling this territory. There are no Marvel superheroes around. I would have it that this island is rethemed, that it was a land. It's now a land of like stitched together monsters. And there is a place where you could put a haunted house. That was where they put Maximum Carnage years ago. But in here, I would have that it's like a meat factory where you have like the monster and his bride are making like an army of new patchwork monsters, like how they always teased in the book of like the original book of like Victor Frankenstein always feared that if they mated, they would create a new unholy race. So and they're making the army for Dracula. They're making an army of like just patchwork monsters together. So that would be the theme, and the scare zones would be like the Franken monsters attacking you, something like that. Moving on from there is Toon Lagoon. Toon Lagoon would be rethemed, and this would be the home. This would be the place ruled by. As much as I would love to have the Invisible Man here, We can't. I don't think they have a plausible idea to use the Invisible Man, and it shows. So I would have that since it's a lagoon, this island would be taken over by the creature from the Black Lagoon. So the Gill Man would be the lord and master of this island. And more or less you'd be attacked by swamp creatures everywhere you go. The scare zone would be the Black Lagoon. And you'd be attacked by the creature the whole time. So that's it. So that's what would be Toon Lagoon. Moving on from there is Jurassic World. Jurassic World would be well, I did have the idea, and hear me out, while I would have Lagoon and get it creature from the Black Lagoon, I was also thinking that maybe have that place be the home of, because they don't really, this one isn't going to follow the idea. The other 3 islands are going to follow the IPs that they're connected to, hear me out. But I would say, because the creature fits a little more with the idea for what I have in mind for Jurassic World, but in here, for Toon Lagoon, I would say that maybe either the Phantom or the Invisible Man has taken over the island. And you could have it for Phantom of the Opera has like... Because you could say in here that the Opera House is like underwater, and that could explain like some water effects in here. For an Invisible Man, maybe have it that it's now the town, and they're just looking for the Invisible Man. Maybe do some sight gags or something. But going back to Jurassic Park... Jurassic Park, here's where I think the Gill Man would work better. In here, I would have it that when the Gill Man came to this island, the Gill Man was captured by InGen and experimented on. It broke out and also unleashed the other dinosaurs. So you could have, like, the raptor puppet they use being a scare actor. It already freaks people out already. I could point you to 100 different videos of it scaring the shit out of people. I could, yeah, wouldn't be that fucking hard. So... you could do that. You could also have a scare zone where it would be a callback to Extinction, which was a scare zone, a haunted house, where they had dino-human hybrids pop out at you. But in here, it would be like a mixture of, like, dinosaur-Gill-Man hybrids. That would be a lot of fun. So now we move on to Harry Potter. And J.K. Rowling's already a piece of shit, moving on. So it wouldn't hurt to have that, like, I'm pretty sure if you give her enough money, she'll be fine with the IP being a little allied with something else. So here's a little crossover. This idea is that the Death Eaters sided with Dracula. Immediately when Dracula showed up, they were like, fuck yeah, the Death Eaters were all in. And the person who's leading them is Imhotep. And I would have, like, I would be kind of fun with it, and just kind of, like, because people love the Brendan Fraser mummy, I would have that the one who took over this island was Imhotep. Like, like 1998 Imhotep, who was resurrected by Dracula to basically take over the island. Like, so in here, the idea is that you would have Death Eater, like the haunted house would be, like, I would love to have like a haunted house where essentially what they do is that the haunted house is like the Death Eaters going into the temple to try to backstab Imhotep, and it would be like you'd see wizards battling mummies. Wizards versus mummies, there you go. So yeah, there you go. That's just a few ideas. You guys tell me in the comments below, what would your ideas be for Islands of Adventure, for this version of Halloween Horror Nights? Would you include Islands of Adventure? Would you bring in a new icon? Would you want to do like a classic icon or a new monster? Maybe bring back an old IP, maybe a new IP, maybe a new monster. I'm very curious, and again, I know this video kind of ran a little long, but I was just like, I was really thinking about it, and I watched a lot of Halloween Horror Nights videos, and you'll probably see more in the future, I just warn you. I was just like, I was so excited that I just was like, I've done like some park idea videos, why the fuck can't I just do a Halloween Horror Night pitch? And I just went full blue sky here. So I'm very excited to see what you guys have to say about about this, because I'm always excited. I know this is a pretty long video, but hopefully you guys were entertained enough to stick around and see just all the chaos I just thought up. So anyway, once again, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.